There's a hangar at RAF Warton in Lancashire that doesn't get talked about much. No press tours, no open days, no carefully staged photo opportunities with politicians standing in front of something they clearly don't understand. Just a building, a lot of security, and work happening behind closed doors that most people will never hear about until it's too late to be surprised. Meanwhile, the defense world keeps its eyes locked on America, the F-47 NGAD, the B-21 Raider making its slow, deliberate public debut. The US runs the loudest program, so it gets the most attention, and Britain just keeps working. But something is being built on that side of the Atlantic that doesn't show up cleanly in parliamentary budget lines or BAE Systems press releases. Defense analysts who watch classified spending patterns have started asking questions about numbers that don't add up. Programs that don't map to anything officially acknowledged. A name that circulates in certain circles, Dark Eagle, attached to a variant of the Tempest program that goes well beyond what anyone has publicly admitted exists. By the end of this video, you'll understand why NATO's air power equation just shifted in a way that almost nobody saw coming. Russia and China have both been watching the Western alliance's next-generation programs closely. Neither of them expected Britain to be the wild card. Most people who've heard of the Tempest file, it's somewhere between the F-35 and a British vanity project. A next-gen fighter, sure, but probably derivative, probably dependent on American technology, probably a decade behind where it needs to be. That framing is wrong on almost every count. The Tempest isn't Britain's answer to the F-35. The F-35 is a fifth-generation aircraft. The Tempest is being built for a completely different threat environment, one where fifth-gen stealth alone isn't enough to survive contact with the systems Russia and China are currently fielding. This is a sixth-generation program, which means the comparison to the F-35 is roughly like comparing a smartphone to a rotary phone, because they both make calls. And it isn't a solo project. The Global Combat Air Program, GCAP, brings Japan and Italy in as full co-development partners, not junior contractors. Japan's participation in particular changes the strategic character of the whole program. You're not looking at a single nation building a capable fighter jet. You're looking at three technologically advanced nations pooling their most sensitive aerospace research into one platform, with a combined industrial base and a shared interest in not depending entirely on Washington for their high-end air combat capability. The publicly confirmed specs alone put it in a different category from anything currently flying. The Tempest is designed from the ground up to operate alongside autonomous, loyal wingman drones, controlling a small fleet of unmanned aircraft while simultaneously managing its own threat responses. The onboard AI isn't a feature added late in development. It's baked into the sensor fusion architecture at the foundation level, pulling from multiple data streams and building a battle space picture faster than any pilot could do manually. Directed energy weapons are part of the original design spec, not a future upgrade option. The power generation system was engineered to support high-energy laser systems from day one, which tells you something about how seriously the program takes what the threat environment looks like in 2035 and beyond. The stealth geometry is worth paying attention to too, because it's different from what the Americans do. US low observable design, think the F-22 and F-35, prioritizes a fixed radar cross-section built into the physical shape of the airframe. BAE's approach for the Tempest leans toward what you'd call adaptive radar cross-section management. The aircraft's electronic systems actively manipulate how it appears to enemy radar rather than relying solely on shape to stay invisible. The distinction matters because fixed-shape stealth can be partially countered with the right radar frequency. Active signature management is a harder problem to solve on the threat side. So 6th Gen for the Tempest isn't primarily about being invisible. It's about owning the electromagnetic space around the aircraft, controlling what every radar and sensor in the battle space can and can't see, and doing that dynamically while the mission is in progress. That's the public program, the version that shows up in parliamentary testimony and airshow renders and officially sanctioned briefings. There's another version that doesn't appear in any of that, and it's been running longer than most people realize. Black projects in the UK defense world aren't a conspiracy theory framing. They're a real procurement category with a paper trail, even if the paper is mostly redacted. The Ministry of Defense has a formal mechanism for classified development programs, where the budget disappears into a line item that tells Parliament almost nothing about what's actually being funded. Most people assume this is an American specialty. Skunk Works, Area 51, the whole mythology. Britain has been doing the same thing for decades, just more quietly. The clearest recent precedent is Tyrannus. BAE Systems ran a fully autonomous stealth combat drone program for years. Airframe, propulsion, avionics, weapons integration. Before anyone outside the classified program knew it had progressed beyond a design concept. When it finally surfaced publicly, it was already flying. The lessons from Tyrannus didn't vanish when the program wound down. They went somewhere into the next generation of thinking about how an autonomous, low-observable aircraft should actually behave in a contested airspace. That context matters when you start looking at what defense analysts have been flagging in the UK MOD's classified spending figures. There are anomalies. Budget allocations that are too large in scale to be upgrade programs for existing aircraft, and too structured in their year-on-year progression to be basic research spending, which tends to be more irregular. The numbers point toward a sustained, phased development effort on something specific. Nothing in the acknowledged program list accounts for them. This is where the Dark Eagle name enters the picture. It circulates in defense analyst circles, in the kind of conversations that happen at industry conferences, and in specialist publications that don't make the general news cycle. Whether it's an official program designation, an internal nickname, or a label that attaches itself to the program from the outside, nobody who'd know for certain is saying. What the name gets attached to consistently are rumors about a Tempest variant running on a parallel track to the public GCAP timeline, with a capability set that goes beyond what the official program acknowledges. The rumored specifications are worth laying out carefully because some of them are plausible extensions of known development directions and some are harder to evaluate. On the plausible end, an internal weapons bay optimized for long-range standoff strikes, which fits with the broader 6th-gen design philosophy of keeping external stores off the airframe in high-threat environments. Avionics architecture that can operate fully disconnected from any external network, which is a direct answer to the reality that in a near-peer conflict, communication links get jammed or destroyed early. You want an aircraft that doesn't stop functioning when the network goes down. The hypersonic capability claim is the one that sits at the edge of what's currently verifiable. Hypersonic dash in certain flight regimes, not sustained cruise, appears in the same discussions. Given the propulsion work being done on the program, which we'll get into shortly, it's not physically impossible. But it's also the kind of claim that's easiest to attach to a program nobody can verify, so treat it accordingly. What's harder to dismiss is the timeline implication. If a parallel development track has been running since the early stages of the public Tempest program, the official 2035 service entry date for GCAP may describe when the acknowledged version reaches the RAF, not when something is already operational. Tyrannus was flying before anyone outside the program knew to ask whether it was flying. There's no structural reason the same approach couldn't be applied here. The capability choices inside this program stop making sense as pure engineering decisions once you lay them against the specific threats Britain is actually preparing to face. Britain's threat geography is not America's threat geography, and that difference drives almost every decision inside the Tempest program. The North Sea, the Arctic corridor, the Baltic approaches, these are not abstract strategic concepts for the RAF. They're operational realities. Russian long-range aviation probes, British air defense identification zones on a regular basis, the Kola Peninsula, sitting just across the Arctic from NATO's northern flank, hosts some of the densest concentrations of Russian air defense and strike capability on the planet. For American planners, a conflict in Europe is a power projection problem. For Britain, it's a home defense problem with a very short reaction window. Russia's S-500 system changed the calculus for every NATO air force that pays attention to what it can actually do. Unlike earlier generations of Russian surface-to-air missiles, the S-500 is designed to engage targets at extreme altitude and range. including aircraft flying the kind of high-fast profiles that used to provide a margin of safety. The follow-on S-550, focused specifically on hypersonic and space-based targets, pushes that envelope further. Current generation NATO fighters, including the F-35 in certain engagement scenarios, face a real survivability problem against these systems. The Tempest combination of adaptive signature management and electronic warfare capability is specifically architected to operate inside that threat envelope without relying on standoff range as a substitute for genuine survivability. Japan's role in GCAP isn't a diplomatic gesture or a cost-sharing arrangement dressed up as strategic partnership. Japan faces a threat that mirrors Britain's in its structure, even if the geography is completely different. Chinese air power has been expanding in range, capability, and aggression across the Western Pacific. The J-20 is operational, it's being produced at scale, and China has additional sixth-generation programs in development that Japanese defense planners track very closely. Buying American platforms gives Japan capable aircraft, but it doesn't give Japan the ability to shape the platform's development around its own specific operational requirements, and it creates a dependency that becomes a vulnerability the moment Washington's strategic priorities shift westward. A shared sixth-gen program built around a common architecture solves both problems at once. Britain gets the industrial and financial weight of two additional advanced partners. Japan gets a platform it co-owns, co-develops, and can evolve independently. Italy brings its own aerospace engineering depth and a Mediterranean operational perspective that matters for southern NATO. None of them get that from an off-the-shelf American purchase. The Su-57 is flying with Russian units now. The J-20 is flying with Chinese units now. NATO's current inventory was largely designed and procured against a threat environment that existed 20 years ago. The alliance is heavily weighted toward U.S. platforms for any genuinely high-end air combat scenario, and that weight becomes a strategic liability if American attention and resources tilt decisively toward the Pacific, which is exactly what the current geopolitical trajectory suggests is coming. Britain's calculation is specific. A sixth-gen platform with a Black Project capability layer needs to reach operational status before the threat environment matures to the point where it can no longer be answered with an aircraft that's still in development. That's not pessimism about the timeline. It's the reason the timeline is what it is, and it's almost certainly why a parallel track exists at all. The technology being built into this airframe is where that urgency becomes most visible. Start with power. The Tempest's electrical generation system was sized, from the earliest design phase, to feed high-energy laser weapons. Not as a future option, not as a weight penalty the engineers would figure out later. It's load-bearing infrastructure baked into the architecture the same way a carrier's flight deck is built for aircraft, not adapted to them afterward. That decision alone tells you what the program office believes the next air war actually looks like. The AI system BAE has described publicly is worth understanding precisely because it gets mischaracterized a lot. The pilot doesn't hand control to a machine. The pilot sets intent, the target, the mission parameters, the acceptable risk envelope, and the aircraft executes the tactical responses faster than human reaction time allows. A missile launch detected at close range, an electronic attack requiring immediate countermeasures, a split-second maneuver decision in a high-threat environment. The aircraft handles those in the gap between the threat appearing and the pilot's hands moving. The human stays in command of the mission. The machine handles the physics. Propulsion is where the program gets genuinely interesting. The engine work, referenced in some open-source defense documents under the name Orpheus, is targeting a power-to-weight ratio that supports supercruise, sustained supersonic flight without afterburner. That matters for one specific reason. Afterburner produces a massive infrared signature that modern IR-guided missiles can track from long range. An aircraft that can cruise supersonically without lighting that signature is harder to engage with the weapon systems that currently threaten the fast jets most seriously. Whether the hypersonic dash capability in the Dark Eagle rumors connects to a derivative of this propulsion work, nobody outside the program is confirming. But the engineering direction points that way. Sensor fusion at this scale is genuinely new territory. The aircraft pulls data simultaneously from space-based assets, allied platforms, and ground stations, building a live composite picture of the battle space that no single sensor suite could generate alone. The pilot sees more, faster, with better confidence about what's real and what's a decoy or a spoofed return. The Dark Eagle variant, according to what circulates in analyst discussions, trades that networked architecture for something different: full autonomous operation with no external connections required. For missions where transmitting anything is itself a liability, where the network has been jammed or destroyed, or where operating inside an enemy's air defense perimeter means any emission is a targeting cue, you want an aircraft that functions as a closed system. That's a fundamentally different capability from the GCAP baseline, and it requires different avionics design from the ground up. The materials used on the airframe are classified, but open-source defense literature describes radar-absorbent coating characteristics that push beyond what the F-35 currently achieves. Combined with adaptive signature management, the physical and electronic stealth work together rather than compensating for each other's limits. Britain isn't following anyone's lead on this. The Tempest program, and whatever runs beneath it at the classification levels that don't surface in official statements, reflects a country that looked at its specific threat geography, its specific alliance dependencies, and decided to build an answer rather than wait for one. The Dark Eagle name may never appear in an official document. The program it describes almost certainly already exists. Watch the GCAP partnership announcements and the MOD budget anomalies. That's where the real story breaks before it goes public. America's skies are about to change forever with the revolutionary Boeing F-47, our latest stealth fighter. Combining cutting-edge design with unmatched speed and agility, this aircraft redefines modern warfare. In this video, we'll dive into the secrets of its stealth technology, innovative engineering, and the game-changing impact it promises for America's defense. Buckle up and join us as we explore America's new stealth fighter, the Boeing F-47. On Friday, March 21st, 2025, a groundbreaking announcement was made in the Oval Office that will forever alter the landscape of U.S. air power. President Donald Trump, alongside Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Air Force Chief of Staff General David Alvin, personally declared Boeing the winner of the Next Generation Air Dominance (NGAD) fighter initiative. This historic moment, delivered in one of America's most iconic settings, underscored the nation's commitment to advancing its tactical air capabilities and set the stage for a bold leap into the future of aerial combat. President Trump revealed that an experimental version of the F-47 has been secretly soaring through the skies for nearly 5 years. According to him, this aircraft is far beyond anything any other nation has ever built. There's no competition, he declared. I've seen every other jet out there, and nothing even comes close. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a whole new level. You know, level 5 is good, he said, but this is level 6. The F-47 is armed with cutting-edge stealth technology, making it virtually invisible to enemy detection. It possesses unparalleled power, setting a new benchmark for fighter jets. It's the most powerful aircraft of its kind ever created, Trump stated. And its maneuverability? Unmatched. Nothing like it has ever existed before. Speed is another jaw-dropping feature. It's faster than anything people are used to. Over Mach 2, he added. That's something you don't hear very often. Beyond its speed and power, the true purpose of the F-47 is to maintain America's dominance in the skies. According to Trump, America's enemies will never see it coming. And if the aircraft is ever needed in combat, adversaries will have no chance to react. However, he expressed hope that it would never have to be used for such purposes. A new fleet of these groundbreaking jets is set to be built and deployed under his administration within the next few years. He assured that production is already well underway, with factories and facilities prepared. His vision is to ensure that the United States continues to lead the world in air superiority. At the core of this monumental development is Boeing's revolutionary 6th-generation stealth fighter, now designated the F-47. This aircraft is far more than just an upgraded jet. It represents a complete transformation in the way air combat will be conducted. With its state-of-the-art stealth features, incredible speed, and unmatched maneuverability, The F-47 is engineered to counter emerging threats and redefine the very nature of modern warfare. The U.S. Air Force plans to begin fielding this game-changing fighter within the next decade, highlighting an urgent need to maintain technological superiority in an increasingly unpredictable world. The NGAD initiative is designed to develop a next-generation fighter platform that can operate with other advanced systems. Born from the need to outpace global threats, the program integrates innovative technologies into an adaptable combat jet. Previously shrouded in uncertainty over costs and strategic relevance, the renewed commitment from this announcement has breathed new life into the initiative, paving the way for a future where American air power leads global defense. While the announcement itself is a major milestone, it is equally important to consider the long and storied competition that has brought us to this point. The race to create the ultimate fighter jet has long been a contest between two of America's most storied defense contractors, Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin, with its celebrated F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, has been a dominant force in military aviation for decades. Their designs have set high standards in stealth, agility, and technological innovation, becoming symbols of American prowess in the skies. However, this rivalry is steeped in a rich historical context that dates back to the Cold War era. During those tense years, the need for air superiority drove both companies to push the limits of engineering and design. Every new aircraft was a critical piece in the puzzle of national security, and competition was fierce as both firms sought to secure America's strategic interests. The innovations born from this rivalry led to rapid advancements in technology, from cutting-edge stealth materials to sophisticated flight control systems, all of which have shaped the modern fighter jets we see today. Despite Lockheed Martin's illustrious history and its impressive portfolio of advanced aircraft, Boeing's recent triumph in the NGAD fighter initiative signals a potential shift in the balance of power within the defense industry. Boeing's approach with the F-47 leverages decades of aviation experience and a fresh perspective on the challenges of modern warfare. Their success is a testament to the company's relentless drive to innovate and redefine what is possible in military aviation. This victory is not merely about winning a contract. It represents a bold statement that Boeing is ready to lead the next generation of fighter jets into an era where agility, stealth, and speed are paramount. On the day the F-47 was announced, the world of military aviation was buzzing with excitement and curiosity about what this new stealth fighter would look like. Although we have only 2 image renders from the Air Force, they already tell us a lot about this mysterious aircraft. One image shows a plane with a very distinct chine starting right from the nose, a sharp, angular line that gives the jet an aggressive, futuristic look. The other image is more artistic, with much of the aircraft hidden in swirling clouds and vapor, adding an air of mystery to its design. One of the more striking details in the clear render is the suggestion of canards. These small, wing-like structures, which appear to have a high dihedral angle, could help improve the plane's maneuverability and overall stealth. The fact that the other render doesn't show these canards might be due to artistic license or simply a different angle that hides certain features. However, both images agree on one unusual characteristic. The wings seem to share the same high dihedral angle. This design choice is not common among fighters and is likely a deliberate measure to enhance stealth capabilities. Many modern jets like the F-22 and F-35, and even some Chinese fighters like the J-20 and J-36, have a radar signal trap when the wing meets the lower fuselage. In contrast, the F-47 appears to avoid this pitfall by presenting a single diamond-like cross-section when viewed from below or the sides. This streamlined design could be a game-changer, offering a significant advantage in evading radar detection. When we compare this new fighter to other iconic aircraft, a few interesting points come to light. For instance, Boeing's bird of prey demonstrator from the 1990s comes to mind. That small, experimental plane was famed for its incredibly low radar cross-section. In fact, it was so stealthy that while you could see it with the naked eye, fighter jet radar couldn't track it even from a few miles away. Its radar cross-section was rumored to be around -70 decibels, which is an impressive achievement, especially when you consider that the F-22's is about -40 decibels. Imagine that. The technology behind the bird of prey was already groundbreaking 30 years ago, and now we see echoes of that innovation in the F-47's design. The renders leave some mysteries too, as the rear half of the F-47 is not visible. This means we can only speculate about the design of its tail section, engines, and other key features that lie out of view. However, two more details stand out. First, the canopy appears fairly wide compared to the rest of the plane. A wide canopy could be an indication of enhanced pilot visibility and perhaps a more spacious cockpit, which might be designed for advanced avionics or even a dual-crew configuration in future variants. Second, the front landing gear is notably different. It has a single wheel rather than a twin-wheel setup, which is often seen in larger, heavier aircraft like the Chinese J-36 fighter. This detail suggests that the F-47 is not meant to be a massive behemoth with a 50-foot wingspan and weighing 70 tons. Instead, it likely falls in the size range of the F-22 or even a bit smaller, which would make it more agile and responsive in combat. This size and design philosophy could be a key factor in its operational role. A fighter jet that is not overly large can take advantage of increased speed, agility, and potentially lower maintenance costs, all while maintaining a strong stealth profile. In today's fast-changing combat environment, these factors are crucial. The ability to evade enemy radar and respond quickly to threats is at the heart of modern air combat. With the F-47, it seems Boeing is banking on a design that merges the best elements of past innovations with fresh, modern engineering. It's interesting to see how these features compare to those of other advanced fighters. The F-22 and F-35 have long been the benchmarks for stealth and agility in U.S. military aviation. Their designs have been refined over years of development and combat experience. On the other side of the globe, China's J-20 and the lesser-known J-36 have pushed the envelope in their own right, though they sometimes fall prey to design challenges like the radar signal trap mentioned earlier. The F-47, with its unique diamond-like cross-section and potential design refinements such as the canards and wing dihedral, seems poised to take lessons from these aircraft and perhaps even improve upon them. The subtle nod to Boeing's own heritage with the bird of prey is also a reminder of how far technology has come. The lessons learned from experimental aircraft decades ago continue to influence modern designs. It's like watching history repeat itself, only with a futuristic twist. It's easy to get excited about the possibilities of a new fighter jet, and the F-47 is no exception. At first glance, some details seem almost contradictory. For instance, the wide cockpit might make you wonder if the design features side-by-side seating. But then, if that were the case, why would the F-47 have a single-wheel front landing gear? Chances are that seating arrangement isn't in play. This simple observation tells us a lot about the design philosophy behind this new fighter. For many years, the Air Force talked about needing a large and heavy sixth-generation fighter. That was the path taken by China with its J-36, a design built on the idea that a bigger plane would offer more power and range. However, over the past year, hints have emerged suggesting that a smaller F-35 size fighter might be just as effective. The F-47 renders seem to back up this new approach. The fact that the F-47 might be more compact suggests that the Air Force is rethinking its priorities, focusing on agility and efficiency rather than sheer size. General Alvin, the Air Force Chief of Staff, released a statement loaded with praise for the F-47, calling it the most advanced, lethal, and adaptable fighter ever. He added that it is designed to outpace, outmatch, and outmaneuver any adversary. When you hear words like these, it really sets your mind racing with possibilities. Yet some of the phrasing raises interesting questions. Outmaneuver is not a word typically associated with next-generation fighters, which often sacrifice traditional turning ability in favor of stealth and speed. Instead, it might be more accurate to say the F-47 is built for agility. Its ability to rapidly change location and altitude in a split second could be the real game changer. How might this agility be achieved? One possibility is through advanced engines that offer the best of both worlds. Imagine an engine that can operate in turbofan mode for fuel efficiency during long patrols and then switch to turbojet mode when a burst of power is needed for quick maneuvers. This kind of dual-mode operation could give the F-47 an edge over current fighters by allowing it to conserve fuel without compromising on performance during critical moments. Another eyebrow-raising claim from General Alvin is about the fighter's range. He stated that the F-47 will have a significantly longer range than today's fifth-generation fighters. Currently, the F-35 boasts a combat radius of nearly 900 miles for air-to-air missions. How can a fighter that is presumably similar in size or even smaller manage to exceed that range? The answer might lie in engine efficiency. Advanced engines now in development are promising at least a 25% improvement in fuel efficiency over existing models. In addition, the F-35 is built as a multi-role aircraft, designed to carry heavy loads and endure long service lives of up to 40 years. In contrast, the F-47's airframe might be engineered for a shorter lifespan, designed to be replaced or upgraded much more frequently. This approach could allow for rapid technological refreshes, ensuring that the fighter always benefits from the latest innovations. It's fascinating to think about how these design choices reflect a shift in strategy. The Air Force once believed that a larger, more robust fighter was necessary to dominate the skies. But as technology advances, the emphasis seems to be moving toward nimbleness and efficiency. The F-47 might well be a symbol of this new approach. A fighter that is smaller but faster, with advanced engines that let it cover more ground, could change the way air combat is conducted in the future. By rethinking traditional design elements, the F-47 seems to blend lessons from past successes with bold new ideas. The possibility of a wide cockpit might initially hint at side-by-side seating, but the single-wheel front landing gear strongly suggests a different layout. This detail hints at a careful balance between pilot comfort and overall aircraft performance. A wide canopy might still allow for excellent visibility and situational awareness, even if the seating arrangement is more traditional. Such design decisions are likely driven by the need to keep the fighter's size manageable, thereby enhancing its agility. At the same time, this new fighter is positioned against a backdrop of evolving strategic thinking. The earlier vision of a bulky sixth-generation fighter, exemplified by China's J-36, is now being reconsidered in favor of a design more in line with the F-35. This shift reflects a broader trend in military aviation, where the focus is on creating platforms that can be updated more frequently, rather than relying on a single design to carry the burden of air dominance for decades. General Alvin's comments also suggest that the F-47 will be a multifaceted platform. By emphasizing the ability to outpace, outmatch, and outmaneuver, he paints a picture of a fighter that is not only fast but also versatile. The emphasis on rapid changes in location and altitude could indicate a design optimized for dynamic combat environments, where quick decisions and faster responses are critical. The F-47 is not only a leap forward in stealth technology, but also a smart, cost-effective design that promises to change the way we think about fighter jets. One interesting detail is that the F-47 may be built to carry only a few AMR/AAM-sized air-to-air missiles. This might seem like a limitation at first, but there's a clever twist. The Air Force has hinted that each F-47 will fly with more than 5 drones. These drones would serve as the primary missile carriers and shooters. In other words, the fighter jet itself wouldn't need to store a large arsenal of weapons. With the drones doing the heavy lifting in combat, the F-47 can remain lean and agile, reducing its overall weight and enhancing its stealth capabilities. Another interesting aspect is the use of novel construction methods, like metal printing, in building the F-47. This modern manufacturing process, along with other design optimizations, may allow engineers to create extra space for fuel while keeping the plane lighter. The result? A significant boost in range. Early estimates suggest that the F-47 could offer a 25% to even a 50% increase in range compared to today's F-35. Imagine the strategic advantage of a fighter jet that can fly farther, engage the enemy for longer, and still return home safely without refueling too often. Furthermore, there's talk that the F-47 may be designed with just one engine. Fewer engines mean less weight, which could further enhance its range and agility, while also simplifying maintenance. General Alvin has been very positive about the F-47's progress. He mentioned that multiple experimental demonstrators have already flown over the past 5 years. According to him, the F-47 has reached what he called unprecedented maturity. This statement speaks volumes about how much testing and refinement have already gone into the project. It's not just a concept on paper, it's a real, tangible machine that has been proven in flight tests. In fact, General Alvin revealed that a prototype will take to the skies during President Trump's term, by 2028 at the latest. This timeline is remarkable because it is faster than the development timelines for previous fighter jets like the F-35 or the F-22. However, it is important to note that while the prototype may fly soon, additional years will be needed for thorough testing and refinements. The first serial-produced airframes might not join the Air Force inventory until around 2032, with initial operational capability expected to kick in around 2035. One of the most promising aspects of the F-47 is its cost-effectiveness. The Air Force has quoted the F-47 as being cheaper than the F-22. This lower cost is not just about saving money, it means that the service can afford to buy more of these aircraft. With a larger fleet, the overall program cost is spread out over more jets, lowering the price per unit even further. This approach is similar to why the F-35 is currently cheaper than the F-15EX. In previous years, before a smaller-scale option was considered, programs like ANGAD were described as costing hundreds of millions per jet, with only around 200 units being affordable. The move toward a smaller, more cost-effective fighter like the F-47 shows a significant shift in strategy. It suggests that the future of air combat may not require massive, heavily armed air cruisers, but rather more nimble and advanced aircraft that can work in tandem with drone formations and tanker aircraft. This design philosophy indicates that the F-47 is intended to be a manageable aircraft, likely somewhere between the size of the F-35 and the F-22. Despite its relatively smaller size, the F-47 is set to be much more advanced. Its design, combining reduced weight, enhanced fuel capacity, and advanced stealth, makes it a very appealing option for the future of U.S. air power. The ability to launch alongside a swarm of drones means that this fighter jet can be a force multiplier on the battlefield. In modern warfare, where agility and technological integration are key, having a fleet of these smaller, smarter fighters could prove to be a game changer. It's also worth noting that this shift toward a more compact and efficient fighter was not a last-minute decision. The U.S. has been preparing for this transition for quite some time, possibly even before the alleged pause in the NGAD program during the summer of 2024. In fact, Boeing had already been constructing new facilities in anticipation of these future needs. This proactive approach demonstrates a clear commitment to maintaining a technological edge and ensuring that the U.S. military can adapt quickly to changing threats on the global stage. Following the announcement, companies involved in the NGAD fighter competition are speaking out with clear messages about their visions for the future of U.S. air power. Lockheed Martin, the losing bidder, quickly released a statement to TWZ. They said, "Lockheed Martin continues to work to advance critical technologies to outpace emerging threats and deliver true 21st century security solutions to our nation's military forces. We are committed to advancing the state-of-the-art in air dominance to ensure America has the most revolutionary systems to counter the rapidly evolving threat environment. While disappointed with this outcome, we are confident we delivered a competitive solution. We will await further discussions with the U.S. Air Force." That final line hints at a possible protest against the contract award, showing that the battle is far from over. Engine manufacturer General Electric also joined the conversation with a post on X. Their message expressed their gratitude for the administration's leadership and reaffirmed their commitment to keeping U.S. military air superiority strong for decades to come. GE mentioned how excited they were to see the NGAD program move forward and looked forward to the opportunities it could offer to power the fighters of the future. This sentiment follows recent moves where the Air Force increased contract ceilings with both General Electric and Pratt & Whitney to $3.5 billion. Those funds will support further work on prototype next-generation jet engines under the Next Generation Adaptive Propulsion (NGAP) program, a crucial component to power the NGAD fighter. Although the future of the NGAD combat jet is still taking shape, the NGAP program is poised to have a major impact on other advanced aviation projects as well. Boeing, clearly the big winner in this contest, is making headlines for its clean sheet approach to fighter design. John Ostrower, editor-in-chief of the Air Current, pointed out that this is the first time Boeing has secured a contract for a completely new fighter jet built from scratch. In the past, Boeing's successes in the fighter market were tied to designs inherited from McDonnell Douglas, like the F-15, AV-8B, F/A-18, and EA-18. This victory with the F-47 marks a turning point for Boeing, as it shows the company is ready to innovate without relying on past templates. Their approach with the F-47 leverages decades of aviation expertise, combined with a fresh perspective on modern combat needs. The next phase for the F-47 program, as outlined by the Secretary of the Air Force Public Affairs, will kick off the Engineering and Manufacturing Development, or EMD phase. In this stage, Boeing will focus on maturing, integrating, and testing all components of the fighter. A small number of test aircraft will be built for evaluation, and the contract includes options for low-rate initial production. This means that after the rigorous testing phase, there will be room to gradually increase production, ensuring that the new fighter can be fielded effectively once it meets all performance and safety requirements. Steve Parker, Boeing's interim president and chief executive officer of its Defense, Space and Security Division, issued an official statement that summed up the company's excitement and determination. He said, "We recognize the importance of designing, building, and delivering a sixth-generation fighter capability for the United States Air Force. In preparation for this mission, we made the most significant investment in the history of our defense business, and we are ready to provide the most advanced and innovative NGAD aircraft needed to support the mission." Parker's words underline not just a commitment to winning contracts, but a deep belief in the power of innovation to redefine the future of air combat. As these statements roll in, it's clear that the race for air superiority is not just about one contract or one company. It is a complex competition that involves many players, all driven by the same goal: to keep America's skies safe and to ensure that the U.S. military remains on the cutting edge of technology. The NGAD Fighter Initiative is a perfect example of how collaboration, competition, and innovation come together in the world of defense. While Boeing takes the lead with the F-47, the ongoing efforts by Lockheed Martin, GE, Pratt & Whitney, and others are just as critical to shaping the future of air combat. In short, the next steps in the NGAD program are set to bring exciting developments to the forefront of military aviation. With the F-47 entering its EMD phase and vital engine programs moving ahead under NGAP, the stage is set for a dynamic evolution in how the United States defends its airspace. As we watch the F-47 take shape and the future of air combat unfold, one question remains: will Boeing's next-generation fighter truly redefine the skies? When the Anka 3 emerged from its hangar in November 2023, defense analysts around the world had to do a double take. This was not supposed to happen. A country that had been locked out of the F-35 program just a few years earlier had somehow built a flying-wing stealth combat drone that looked like it belonged in a superpower's arsenal. How did Turkey pull this off? And what does their sudden emergence as a stealth aircraft manufacturer mean for an already tense global defense landscape? Join us as we explore the 10 most shocking aspects of Turkey's Anka 3 program. The event took place at the Turkish aerospace industry site close to Ankara during what was meant to be a normal display of Turkey's increasing defense abilities. Journalists were invited, along with military leaders and some foreign guests. No one anticipated what would happen next. When the hangar doors opened and the Anka 3 appeared, everyone fell silent. People were amazed not only because Turkey created a stealth drone, but also because of the specific type of stealth drone they built. The design, shaped like a flying wing with no vertical fins and smooth surfaces, showed some of the best aerospace engineering globally. Other countries with much more experience and money had a hard time getting this design right. Yet Turkey presented something that seemed to fit in the same category as the American B-21 Raider or the Chinese GJ-11. Defense journalists and military attachés started taking photos immediately. Some were impressed, calling it a genuine breakthrough that nobody saw coming. Others were skeptical, questioning whether the aircraft was actually functional or just a full-scale mock-up designed to generate headlines. A few Western analysts seemed almost offended, as if Turkey had broken some unspoken rule about who gets to build fifth-generation stealth aircraft. Regardless of their reactions, everyone understood they were witnessing something significant. The aircraft itself looked menacing in person. Painted in a dark gray scheme with sharp angular edges blending into smooth curves, it had that distinctive tailless flying wing profile that signals stealth to anyone who knows aircraft design. No tail fins jutting up to catch radar. No obvious engine intakes creating radar hotspots. Just clean, continuous surfaces designed to scatter electromagnetic waves in every direction except back toward the source. Turkish officials spoke briefly at the presentation. They said the aircraft is called the Anka and that it is made for high altitude, long missions, and will eventually carry smart bombs. After that, they stopped talking. There were no details about its specifications, performance, or when it would be ready for use. The message was clear. Turkey had built something impressive, and the world could figure out the details on its own time. What made the whole thing more shocking was the timeline. Just 4 years earlier, in 2019, the United States had kicked Turkey out of the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter program. The reason? Turkey had bought Russian S-400 air defense systems, and Washington considered that an unacceptable security risk. Losing access to the F-35 was supposed to be devastating for Turkey's Air Force modernization plans. American officials assumed it would force Ankara to come back to the table on American terms. Turkey's aerospace industry did not appear overnight. The country had been building toward this moment for decades, slowly developing the technical expertise and industrial base necessary to design and manufacture advanced aircraft. Turkish Aerospace Industries, the state-owned company behind Anka 3, traces its roots back to the 1970s. Back then, they were assembling American and European aircraft under license, learning the fundamentals of aviation manufacturing one rivet at a time. The real turning point came in the 2000s when Turkey committed to developing indigenous defense capabilities. Tired of depending on foreign suppliers who could cut them off at any moment for political reasons, Ankara started pouring money into domestic research and development. The initial projects were modest, upgrading existing aircraft, developing subsystems, and building unmanned aerial vehicles for reconnaissance missions. Each success built confidence and capability. The original Anka program, which began in the early 2000s, focused on creating a medium-altitude, long-endurance surveillance drone. It was not particularly sophisticated by global standards, but it worked, and more importantly, it was entirely Turkish. Engineers learned how to design airframes, integrate avionics, develop flight control systems, and manage complex aerospace projects from start to finish. Those skills became the foundation for everything that followed. By the time Turkey started working on Anka 3, they had accumulated nearly 2 decades of hands-on experience in unmanned aircraft development. They had also established partnerships with foreign companies willing to share technology, acquired advanced manufacturing equipment, and trained a generation of aerospace engineers who understood both the theory and practice of building military aircraft. The knowledge gap between Turkey and the traditional aerospace powers had been narrowing for years. Anka 3 was the moment that gap closed enough to matter. What separates Anka 3 from earlier Turkish aircraft is not just its stealth characteristics, but also its operational concept. This was designed from the start as a combat platform, not a surveillance asset that might eventually carry weapons. The flying wing configuration maximizes internal weapons bay capacity while maintaining a low radar cross-section. That means Anka 3 can carry precision-guided bombs and air-to-ground missiles hidden inside its fuselage, launching them without compromising its stealth profile. The aircraft reportedly has a wingspan of around 15 meters and an operational ceiling exceeding 40,000 feet. Those numbers put it in the same category as other high-altitude stealth drones, capable of loitering over target areas for extended periods while remaining difficult to detect. The jet engine, which appears to be mounted internally with carefully designed intakes and exhausts, provides the thrust needed for long-range missions and high-speed attacks. Stealth technology requires obsessive attention to detail. Every surface, every seam, every panel has to be precisely engineered to minimize radar reflection. Turkey apparently succeeded in mastering the complex materials, science, computational modeling, and manufacturing precision required to make this work. That alone represents a massive technological achievement, one that places Turkey in an extremely exclusive club of nations capable of producing operational stealth aircraft. The flight control system deserves special attention. Flying wing designs are inherently unstable. Without a traditional tail providing natural stability, the aircraft relies entirely on computer-controlled surfaces and thrust vectoring to stay in the air. The software managing these systems has to make thousands of tiny adjustments per second, correcting for wind, turbulence, and pilot inputs faster than any human could react. Getting that software right requires years of testing and refinement. Turkey apparently got it right. The avionics system is another big success. Modern stealth planes need advanced technology to combine information from radar, infrared cameras, electronic warfare systems, and other sources into one clear view. Anka 3 is said to have a special radar that can track several targets at the same time while staying hard to detect. This type of radar needs advanced technology and processing methods that Turkey likely created or obtained despite restrictions on exports. The weapons integration system also shows considerable sophistication. Internal weapons bays must open, release munitions, and close again in a matter of seconds without compromising stealth. That requires precise mechanical systems, careful aerodynamic design, and software that coordinates everything perfectly. Turkish engineers apparently solved these problems, though exactly how they managed it remains unclear. The aircraft can reportedly carry a mix of guided bombs and cruise missiles, giving it genuine strike capability against both fixed and mobile targets. Building Anka 3 was not just a technical challenge, it was a logistical and industrial one. Creating an aircraft this sophisticated requires hundreds of specialized suppliers, providing everything from advanced composites to precision machine components. Turkey had to either develop these capabilities domestically or find foreign partners willing to provide them, despite potential political pressure from the United States and other Western nations. Reports suggest Turkish engineers faced significant obstacles obtaining certain critical technologies, particularly advanced jet engines and some electronic warfare systems. International arms embargoes and technology transfer restrictions meant they could not simply buy what they needed from established suppliers. Instead, they had to improvise, reverse engineer, and develop indigenous alternatives. The fact that Anka 3 exists at all suggests they succeeded in overcoming most of these obstacles. The engine situation was difficult. High-performance jet engines require exotic materials, precision manufacturing, and decades of accumulated engineering knowledge. Turkey initially tried to develop its own turbofan engine, but apparently encountered difficulties meeting performance requirements. Industry sources suggest they eventually secured engines through partnerships with Ukrainian manufacturers, who faced fewer restrictions on sales to Turkey. Whether those engines meet all of Anka's requirements or represent a temporary solution until domestic alternatives are ready remains unclear. Composite materials were another major hurdle. Stealth aircraft use specialized radar-absorbent materials that are difficult to manufacture and highly classified. Turkey had to either develop these materials from scratch or find suppliers willing to sell them despite potential diplomatic complications. Engineers reportedly spent years experimenting with different chemical formulations and manufacturing processes before achieving materials that met their requirements. Some of those materials may still fall short of what American or Chinese stealth aircraft use, but they apparently work well enough to make Anka genuinely difficult to detect. Testing had its own challenges. Stealth aircraft need specialized facilities to measure their radar cross-sections accurately. They need secure testing ranges where foreign intelligence services cannot easily observe their performance. Turkey reportedly built new testing infrastructure specifically for Anka 3, including radar measurement facilities and expanded flight test ranges. That infrastructure investment will pay dividends for future programs. The reactions from Turkey's NATO allies range from uncomfortable to outright hostile. American defense officials publicly downplayed Anka 3's significance, suggesting it was less capable than Turkish officials claimed. Privately, the response was more concerned. Turkey developing advanced stealth capabilities independently meant they were less dependent on American military technology and therefore harder to influence through traditional diplomatic channels. Greece, Turkey's historic rival and fellow NATO member, Watch the unveiling with alarm. The two countries have unresolved territorial disputes in the Aegean Sea and tensions over Cyprus that occasionally flare into military confrontations. The Anka-3 gives Turkey a significant new capability in any potential conflict, one that Greece currently has no equivalent for. Greek defense officials immediately began discussions about acquiring their own advanced drones or developing countermeasures. European countries reacted in different ways. Some, especially those with defense companies that could work with Turkey, saw a chance for cooperation. Others were concerned about stability in the Eastern Mediterranean and whether Turkey's increasing military strength would make it more difficult to control within NATO. Additionally, Turkey's ability to do this while still having ties with Russia raised more worries among Europeans. Russia reacted calmly. Moscow has its own advanced military aircraft programs and probably saw Anka-3 as proof that selling air defense systems to Turkey was a good choice, rather than seeing it as a direct threat. In fact, Turkey's ability to develop its own technology likely made it a more appealing partner for Russia, showing that Turkey has strong technical skills and is willing to resist pressure from the West. Saudi Arabia is interested in Turkish defense products and has already bought earlier versions of the Anka drones for spying missions. The new Anka-3 is a big improvement that might attract the Saudis, especially because they are involved in military actions in Yemen and have issues with Iran. The main concern is whether Turkey would hurt its relationships with Western allies by selling stealth combat drones to controversial customers in the Middle East. The United Arab Emirates faces similar considerations. Abu Dhabi has been working to reduce its dependence on American military technology after Washington blocked certain weapon sales over human rights concerns. Turkish stealth drones offer an attractive alternative, though political complications around the Abraham Accords and Turkish-Israeli tensions could complicate any potential deals. Qatar, which is Turkey's main ally in the Gulf, likely has access to the Anka if they choose to. The two countries work closely together in military matters, including having a Turkish military base in Qatar. If Qatar buys Turkish stealth drones, it could change the power balance in the region, especially with the current tensions with Saudi Arabia and the UAE. This possibility probably worries other Gulf countries a lot. Pakistan is another potential customer with strategic implications. The country maintains close military ties with Turkey and desperately needs to modernize its air capabilities to counter India's growing military strength. Turkish stealth drones could provide Pakistan with asymmetric capabilities against a much larger adversary, though the technology transfer and cost considerations would require careful negotiation. Israel, which maintains a complex relationship with Turkey involving both cooperation and competition, viewed Anka-3 through the lens of regional power dynamics. Israeli defense officials recognized that Turkey was positioning itself as a major military power in the Eastern Mediterranean and Middle East. That could complicate Israeli military planning, particularly regarding freedom of action in Syrian airspace. When compared to other stealth combat drones, Anka-3 sits in interesting territory. It is more ambitious than most existing platforms, but less proven than systems from the United States or China. The American MQ-25 Stingray, for example, represents the current state-of-the-art in carrier-based stealth drones, but that program has taken nearly a decade and cost billions of dollars. China's GJ-11 Sharp Sword drone demonstrated flying-wing stealth capabilities years before Anka-3, but details about its operational status remain classified. What makes the Anka-3 particularly significant is not necessarily its absolute capabilities, but what it represents for Turkey's defense industry. This aircraft demonstrates that a nation outside the traditional aerospace superpowers can develop genuinely advanced military aviation technology if they commit sufficient resources and expertise. That changes the calculus for countries considering their own indigenous aircraft programs. The true combat ability of the aircraft is still not tested. Stealth technology is most effective when it works with advanced electronic warfare tools, better sensors, and connections to larger military systems. Creating the aircraft is one task. Creating the whole system that makes it work well in battle is another. Turkey will need many years of testing and improvements before Anka-3 can perform at its best. Turkey having stealth combat drones is important for more than just its military strength. For many years, powerful countries have used advanced military technology to control smaller nations. If you want advanced fighter jets, you need to maintain good relations with the US or Russia. If you need modern air defense systems, you should hope that China or European group agrees with your political stance. Turkey's success with Anka 3 weakens that dynamic. If Ankara can build its own stealth aircraft, other nations might conclude they can too. That could accelerate the proliferation of advanced military technology to countries that previously had no realistic path to acquiring it. The exclusive club of nations capable of producing cutting-edge military aircraft is expanding, and that has profound implications for global security. Regional power balances will change. In the Eastern Mediterranean, Turkey now possesses capabilities that give it significant military advantages over neighbors. In the Middle East, Turkey becomes a more credible military power broker, able to offer sophisticated weapon systems to allies while demonstrating its own technological prowess. That enhanced status could translate into greater diplomatic influence. The relationship between Turkey and NATO faces new complications. Alliance cohesion depends partly on interoperability and shared systems. Turkey increasingly operates military equipment that does not integrate with NATO standard systems, creating potential coordination problems in any joint operations. At the same time, Turkey's enhanced capabilities make it a more valuable ally in scenarios where NATO needs regional military power projection. Arms export markets will also shift. Turkey has been aggressively marketing its defense products internationally, and Anka 3 gives Turkish defense companies a prestigious flagship product to showcase. Countries that feel uncomfortable with the political conditions attached to American or European weapons might view Turkey as an attractive alternative supplier. That could generate significant revenue while expanding Turkey's geopolitical influence. The question now is what comes next. Will Turkey stop with Anka 3, content to have proven its capabilities, or is this just the beginning of a broader push into advanced military aviation? Rumors already circulate about potential manned stealth fighter programs and more ambitious drone designs. Turkish aerospace engineers who cut their teeth on Anka 3 now have the expertise to tackle even more complex projects. International partnerships could accelerate Turkish progress. Several nations have expressed interest in collaborating on future Turkish aircraft programs, potentially providing access to technologies and expertise that would take years to develop independently. Those partnerships could help Turkey leapfrog certain developmental stages while generating revenue and diplomatic benefits. Other nations are watching and learning. If Turkey can develop stealth aircraft despite limited resources and international restrictions, what might larger or wealthier countries achieve with similar determination? The proliferation of advanced military technology seems likely to accelerate, driven partly by Turkey's example. The exclusive club of nations capable of producing cutting-edge weapons continues to expand. The world may never look at Turkey's defense industry the same way again. What was once dismissed as a regional player capable of producing decent but unexceptional military equipment has demonstrated the ability to compete with aerospace superpowers. Anka 3 forced a reassessment of Turkish technological capabilities and ambitions. Whether that aircraft ever fires a shot in combat almost doesn't matter. Its existence has already changed calculations in capitals around the world. The question is no longer whether Turkey can build advanced military aircraft. The question is what they will build next. The Kremlin has finally decided to go head-to-head with the top nations like the United States and China in producing a new stealth bomber that is about to change the game. The concept of war has historically favored the team that dominates the skies, and Russia seems well poised to strike fear into the hearts of potential opponents with its new bomber. How did the world react to the sight of the behemoth? Could Russia be on the verge of triggering another arms race? Join us as we discuss the amazing features of Russia's new stealth bomber. Rumors of Russia's new stealth bomber have taken a stranglehold of worldwide military space since the early 2020s. However, the wait is finally over. It is coming, and it is a monster. Unlike the very first types of Russian bombers, including the Tupolev Tu-95 and the Tupolev Tu-160, which rely on brute lethal force and speed as their greatest features, the new Russian stealth bomber, PAKDA, relies on invisibility as its greatest feature. Just how does anyone fight a bomber they cannot even see? Although rumors of this bomber became prominent in the 2020s, the Kremlin has secretly had it in the works since the late 1990s, when the Russian government decided on a need for a new strategic bomber with different types of technical and tactical requirements compared to its predecessors. Having drawn out a design for the bomber, the Russian Air Force needed to come to a decision about which company should be given the privilege of building the Kremlin's next-generation bomber. After many deliberations, they came to a unanimous decision to have the bomber built by Tupolev Design Bureau in 2007 before the finances were released to fund the project in 2008. However, questions begin to linger about the details of the design, especially after rumors of a possible replication of the Tupolev Tu-160, owing to its ability to travel at supersonic speed. But it was soon debunked by a public address from then Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, who implied that the new bomber would be a completely different design, which was an exciting prospect as well, since the United States and China had just unveiled their B-21 Raider and the H-20 respectively. Although there has been no press release or any form of publication confirming that the new stealth bomber was a direct geopolitical message to the forces of the West, which have consistently flexed their military might, there are theories stemming from Russia that the new bomber was an example of Russia taking the lead in the arms marathon that has silently been afoot since the World War. From Vladimir Putin's interview, it was almost too easy to tell that this was more than just some aircraft. It was a geopolitical weapon with a direct message of mutually assured destruction to the West. While the Raiders and the H-20s have dominated aerial warfare for a long time, owing to their beastly presence in combat, how much of a threat is Russia's new PAK-DA bomber? Like General Giulio Douhet once said, "He who controls the air controls everything," and Russia is definitely not oblivious to the fact. Ergo, the deliberation to create a bomber that matches up to the intensity of Raiders and H-20s. The Russian Air Force had quickly figured out that aerial warfare was moving slightly away from speed and creeping towards more intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR warfare. Hence, they followed suit with the proposal of creating their own stealth bomber, capable of producing both hunter and killer functions. For some context, the Tu-160, manufactured by the same company in charge of the new stealth bomber, was designed to be a hunter mission bomber aircraft. It is a supersonic, variable sweep-wing, nuclear-capable heavy strategic bomber designed for hunter missions. It was commissioned to service in 1987, serving as both a conventional and nuclear bomber, following the requirement of the Soviet Union in 1967. The Tu-160 was designed with the perfect aerodynamic cheat code with the deliberate attachment of a variable geometry wing. The variable geometry wing, or swing wing in popular parlance, was designed to optimize all levels of movement, ranging from takeoff and landing to cruising. For instance, when the wings are in full extension, they give low-speed stability and do not require the regular length of a runway to take off or land. Hence, it makes it easier for the Tu-160 bomber to operate from varied airfields and carry huge payloads. While there is a huge chance that the bomber's aerodynamic wings could be optimized or manipulated to perform hunter missions, its sheer size negates its potential impact on avoiding the A2AD aircraft defense mechanism used by most top nations. Although the swing wings are relevant to attaining low-speed stability, when they are swept back, the aircraft becomes more aerodynamic and can attain and sustain supersonic speed, with little to no drags, as the aircraft travels at Mach 5. The Tu-160's ability to perform a wide range of missions because of its flexibility has made it a threat to the West and the big players in the Indo-Pacific regions, like China. Its mission flexibility gives it wiggle room to go from subsonic speed to supersonic, making it the best of both worlds, and op countries around the world have struggled to keep up with it. However, that just wasn't enough for the Kremlin. They wanted more, or maybe less, considering the fact that they want the PAK-DA to focus on stealth more than speed, and reaching that decision by enforcing the decision that it is only retrofitted with subsonic speed. On September 3, 2009, the Russian Defense Ministry awarded Tupolev Design Bureau a 3-year research and development contract to undertake studies for the new long-range bomber. According to the President General Designer of Tupolev, Igor Shevchuk, This should be a fundamentally new aircraft based on conceptually new solutions. However, for a country with the number of aircraft and bombers that the Kremlin possesses, there is always going to be that one voice who questions the need for more. For some context, on June 12, 2012, then Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin questioned the need for a new long-range bomber, pointing out the immense progress that Russia and their archenemy, the West, were making in aerial and anti-missile defense technology, reinforcing his point that spending billions of taxpayers' money on an aircraft when they know the difficulty of breaching these new aerial defenses. Although he had made his point, the Chief of the General Staff, Nikolai Makarov, responded by stating that the Kremlin's intention to put in the work and build this bomber revolves around creating a monster behemoth in the air that is much more superior to the United States. His statement was indirectly backed up by President Vladimir Putin on the 14th of the same month, who hammered on the importance of getting a new long-range bomber regardless of the impact of the Tupolev Tu-160s. By 2013, the PAKDA team had finally reached a decision to focus on the stealth options on the PAKDA, while also giving it a subsonic flying wing. Although there were published articles going against the decision to only add a subsonic flying wing, the rationale behind it was pretty simple. Russia already has bombers capable of subsonic and supersonic speed. Hence, they wanted something different in speed and size, but just flexible enough to perform both hunter and killer missions in a single run. The PAKDA's flying wing is a tailless, fixed-wing aircraft that has no definite fuselage, with its crew, payload, fuel, and equipment housed inside the main wing structure. However, it would have various small protuberances such as pods, nacelles, blisters, booms, or vertical stabilizers. The design gives the aircraft a flat shape while flying at the speed of a regular commercial plane, making it nigh impossible to detect by radar. However, the aircraft is much more potent than the deliberately shunted speed limit on the subsonic level. For a hunter mission, its ability to travel at the same speed as an airplane while having a flat shape, looking almost like a single wing hovering in the skies, gives it the advantage and leverage to get closer to its mark when it needs to perform killer missions. This design struck the perfect balance between stealth missions and killer missions. Although the designs bordered along the lines of perfection, there was one hiccup. How exactly does the flat-back plane hide all of its payload without drag and also be able to deploy hypersonic missiles without getting spotted? The Russian Defense Ministry had designed the flat-back bomber with stealth and killer missions in mind. Ergo, they found ways to integrate the fuselage and other parts of the aircraft into the flying wing, drawing inspiration from the single-bay design of the American B-2 Spurt, their direct competitor. But how does a subsonic flying wing aircraft carry and unleash a payload of hypersonic weapons and hit its target? The rationale was rather simple. Since the missions were flexible, meaning that the aircraft could be on a double mission in one run, hunting and killing its targets, the payloads are tucked neatly in the aircraft's body, making it impossible to spot even with A2AD aerial defenses. While the plane flies at subsonic speed and gets closer to its mark, the bay opens, and the hypersonic missile is dropped on its target. However, the missile isn't fired from the aircraft. Instead, it is released at normal speed. Then the engine on the missile sets it up to go faster than Mach 5 and explodes on impact. The aircraft was designed to carry payloads the size of the Kh-47M2. The Kh-47M2 is a Russian air-launched ballistic missile with an estimated range of 460 to 480 kilometers and a reported top speed of Mach 10, which is twice the speed of sound. It can carry either conventional or nuclear warhead and can be launched by two 22M3 bombers, MiG-31K interceptors, modified Su-34 fighter bomber, and very soon the PAK-DA. Even before the advent of the PAK-DA, the Kh-47M2 had already been deployed on numerous war missions by the Russian Air Force. However, its most recent deployment has taken the most sting out of the West in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. The United States has openly supported Ukraine and given them war support to keep them in a fight with Russia, who apparently has the stronger military and better military weapons on land, air, and the seas. However, during the Biden-Harris administration, President Joe Biden, in March 2022, confirmed that Russia deployed hypersonic missiles in Ukraine, which he described as almost impossible to stop. The message was clear. Russia has a missile that is nigh untrackable, making them even more dangerous than they were. And this time, they are in the process of manufacturing a flying-wing subsonic bomber that easily escapes the radar and is capable of carrying the Kh-47M2. This perfectly balanced bomber was more than just technology. It was a message well received from Russia to the rest of the world. However, it wasn't until April 2014 that the head of Russia's United Aircraft Corporation, otherwise called UAC, Mikhail Pogosyan, announced that the Tupolev Design Bureau had finalized the design and that the project was moving to the intermediate phase, signaling the completion of the design and construction of a prototype. And that was Russia's first hiccup. The Russian Defense Ministry demanded 5 billion Russian rubles to prepare the Kazan Aircraft Production Association plant in Kazan. As expected, the old voices of reason, who believed that the country already had enough long-range bombers, were back asking the same questions. However, the Kremlin responded by releasing the requested 5 billion Russian rubles, which were allocated to reconstructing and re-equipping the Kazan Aircraft Production Association plant in Kazan. While it was widely reported in Russia that the first full-size model of the bomber was built, amongst various scale mock-ups of different configurations on March 1, 2017, it wasn't released openly, hence the public only had verbal knowledge of the aircraft. It wasn't long before doubt had started to set in, with rumors of PAKDA being a ruse, making the rounds. However, in July 2018, the United Engine Corporation, otherwise called the UEC, and Tupolev, the company that was commissioned with the responsibility of building the PAKDA, revealed that they had just signed a contract for the creation of the bomber's power plant. However, questions lingered on how they decided to create the power plant. Was it going to be some new groundbreaking idea, or was it going to come from an already established engine? Soon there were released reports that suggest a possible upgrade from the Kuznetsov NK-32 engine. In the same year, the Kremlin reportedly allocated 8 billion Russian rubles for the development of this new engine, which was contracted to JSC Kuznetsov in Samara. Although the specifications of the engine have been a well-guarded secret, its potential performances have been heavily publicized. The engine is rumored to provide the PAKDA with the required force to perform a 30-hour non-stop mission without having to refuel. But it gets even better, as it also comes with a temperature-resistant feature, protecting it from the effects of a nuclear explosion and a service life between 12 to 21 years. While the engines remained in construction, the PAKDA's final draft was finally approved, and the construction in the plant began in late 2019. Although Tupolev kept the construction process away from the media, Russia's state-owned news agency, the TASS, reported on May 26, 2020, that the very first PAKDA, which will be the finished article, was already in construction and will be finished in early 2023. Although Tupolev were the leading constructors, they had help from companies like NPP's Vesta, which announced at the 2021 Max Air Show that his company was in the process of completing the construction of the PAKDA's ejection seats and hoped to hand them over to Tupolev in 2023, the proposed date for the first sighting of the massive aircraft. While speculations of the Kh-47M2 being the main hypersonic weapon to be fitted into the PAKDA's weapons bay had consistently made the rounds on the internet, on August 2021, it was announced that a new long-range, nuclear-capable hypersonic cruise missile, the Kh-95, was under development to be fitted inside the PAKDA's weapon bay. Although the Kremlin has earmarked aerial warfare dominance, specifically over the United States, as the reason for funding the creation of the PAKDA, there is growing evidence that the possible integration of a hypersonic missile carrying a nuclear warhead might be an overkill, but is capable of changing aerial warfare forever. Could Russia finally take the giant leap over the United States and China, who have recently been at the top of the food chain in aerial combat? Could the creation of the PAKDA spark a new global arms race? While the world holds its breath in grievous anticipation of Russia's release of the PAKDA, the United States and China have decided to raise the stakes even further, especially the United States, who are now looking to upgrade their long-range bombers. But just how does their Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider fare, in contrast with the PAKDA? America developed its Long-Range Strike Bomber, or LSB program in 2011, with only one goal in mind: aerial dominance. Over the years, aerial warfare has hit a fever pitch, and there is no bringing it down. Hence the hot pursuit of top countries who are looking to not only get in on the action, but be at the very top of the food chain. Hence America's decision to come up with the B-21 Raider. The Raider is proposed to be a stealth intercontinental strategic bomber that can deliver conventional and thermonuclear weapons. Named Raider in honor of the Doolittle Raiders of the Second World War, the B-21 is meant to replace the Rockwell B-1 Lancer and Northrop B-2 Spirit by 2040, and possibly the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress after that. Although, just like the PAKDA, the B-21 Raider has been touted for a release in 2023, especially since the first flight of the Raider already occurred on November 10, 2023, and 3 of them, which were considered airworthy, were involved in program testing in September 2024. However, neither nation has fully released their new bombers. Although there are reports of technical delays, like with the PAKDA, where the sanctions following the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine, starting the Russo-Ukrainian War in 2022, have been rumored to halt their momentum, and the B-21 Raider has been touted to be undergoing early-stage flight testing. There are other geopolitical rumors that have effortlessly made the rounds in the media. For some context, there are speculations that both countries are in the middle of a game of chicken, seeing who blinks first, with hopes that the first release is assessed by the other country, who then upgrades theirs to remain on top of the food chain. Although the speculations seem to have stuck because neither nation has presented their aircraft in the timeline that they proposed, Russia has come flying out of the gates in a rush to defend their position. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov has openly discussed the common struggles with schedules around the world, but he assures Russia and the entire world that the sanctions following the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine would not affect the timing of the creation of the PAKDA, as the bomber does not contain any foreign components. Although he made these bold claims in 2022, promising that the aircraft would be completed by 2026, with a prototype ready by 2023, as of June 2025, there are still no reports of a prototype. While the world waits for this new stealth subsonic behemoth bomber capable of hosting and launching hypersonic missiles with nuclear warheads, the potential reaction of other top countries remains to be seen, as aerial warfare might change forever. With tensions between China and the United States growing more intense, America's allies, especially Japan, have been left with no choice but to find ways to defend themselves against future threats. Japan has gone the extra mile, developing aircraft unlike anything ever seen in aerial warfare. Armed with technology so advanced that even European nations are eager to collaborate, Japan is finally stepping up to claim its place among the world's military powers. Could this be the beginning of Japan's military resurgence? What can this next-generation fighter truly do? Join us as we reveal the groundbreaking details of the new bombers Japan has just added to its arsenal. After the Second World War, Japan became very cautious about rebuilding its military, especially its air force, which now appears outdated compared to that of other countries. The memories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki still remind everyone of how terrible war can be. Japan's new constitution, drafted with the help of the United States after the war, took a firm stand against war. In Article 9, Japan relinquished its right to wage war or maintain military forces for aggression, limiting its forces to self-defense purposes only. Japan also made a deal with the United States for protection. American troops, including air forces, stayed in Japan to defend the country. This allowed Japan to rebuild its cities, businesses, and industries without undue concern for war. But as time went on, growing problems with China and fears about North Korea's missiles made Japan change its thinking. China's rapid rise in both economic and military strength began to appear more unfriendly toward Japan. Because Japan supported Taiwan and worked closely with the United States, China hit back with trade bans and boycotts. Behind the scenes, China also used cyber attacks and spying. They broke into Japan's government and business systems, attempting to steal sensitive secrets related to defense and technology. China sent more ships and planes close to Japan's borders. They started doing regular live-fire drills and even launched ballistic missiles near Taiwan, one of Japan's close partners. With danger rising, Japan recognized the need to enhance its air force, rather than relying solely on others, especially since China and Russia are now introducing more advanced fighter jets. In a big move, Japan's leaders have recently agreed on new rules that would enable the country to respond more effectively to threats. Former Prime Minister Fumio Kishida stated that, with missiles becoming faster and more deadly around the world, Japan must strengthen its defense to deter future attacks. This decision also followed the United States' urging of Japan to assume a greater role in containing China's expanding military. This new plan will increase its defense budget to 2% of its economy by 2027, doubling the amount it currently spends. With more money, Japan will buy advanced weapons from the United States like Tomahawk missiles and work on building its top-level fighter jets, super-fast missiles, and armed drones. Initially, Japan sought to acquire the Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor. However, the United States refused to sell the jet to any other country, thereby keeping its technology safe and leaving Japan at a disadvantage. So Japan made a bold choice to design and build its sixth-generation fighter jet. It's a challenging project, but if they succeed, Japan could end up producing one of the world's best warplanes and become a major player in the arms market. Between 2009 and 2010, Japan's Ministry of Defense took a deep look into fighter jet technology. From this work came the idea of the I-3 fighter, which stands for Informed, Intelligent, and Instantaneous. This jet was designed to be a stealth fighter capable of detecting and engaging other stealthy planes. It would come equipped with a powerful radar system, smart sensors, and the capability to communicate with external drones and sensor stations during battles. All these features were meant to give Japan a big advantage in controlling the skies around its region. The I-3 fighter could also carry new types of weapons, such as laser guns, known as light-speed weapons, that could instantly destroy incoming threats. As expected, China responded to Japan's plan with harsh words, accusing Japan of fabricating the China threat as a pretext for building more weapons. However, Japan is pushing forward, determined to rely more on itself and defend its territory. To turn their ideas into reality, Japan created a test plane called the Mitsubishi X2 Shinshin. The X2 was designed with a look similar to that of modern fifth-generation fighters, such as the Lockheed F-22 Raptor. Its size was comparable to that of the Swedish Saab JAS 39 Gripen. Measuring approximately 14 meters in length with a wingspan of 9 meters, it weighed almost 13 tons and was equipped with strong turbojet engines featuring 3D thrust control, which provided it with remarkable agility and the ability to fly at supersonic speeds. One of the most notable features of the X2 was its fly-by-optics system. Instead of using traditional cables, it utilizes optical fibers, which enable faster data sharing and better noise handling. Its radar, called the Multifunction RF Sensor, was built with an active electronically scanned array, known as AESA technology, allowing it to switch across different signals for jamming, communication, and possibly even using microwave weapons. Another notable feature was its self-repairing flight control system. If the plane's flight surfaces got damaged, it could detect the problem and adjust by using the parts that still worked, keeping the jet flying safely. For its test flights, the X2 used two XF-5 engines. The work was led by Japan's Acquisition Technology and Logistics Agency. They made a small demo plane called the Advanced Technology Demonstrator, or ATDX for short, which flew 34 missions in 2016 and 2017. ATLA also ran 14 other programs focused on building the key components needed for a real stealth fighter, such as improved sensors, faster data links, and concealed weapon bays. The prototype was a big success. Many of the new systems tested on it will likely be used in Japan's future sixth-generation fighter jet. The twin-engine plane had a sleek and smooth shape, standing about 4.51 meters tall. Its cropped delta wings and special extensions allowed it to keep flying safely even at high angles. Two vertical fins at the rear helped improve both its flight capabilities and stealth. It was piloted by a single pilot and featured a retractable tricycle landing gear setup, smooth control surfaces, and 2 rectangular air intakes positioned adjacent to the cockpit. The special S-duct design also made its airflow smoother and more conducive to speed. After the success of the X-2 project, Japan's Ministry of Defense started working on the Mitsubishi FX in 2020. This new twin-engine stealth fighter is designed for air battles and is planned to be even larger than the F-22, which has earned it the nickname Godzilla. Its large size would give it a longer flight range and the ability to carry a greater number of weapons. It is also designed to have a robust network system and carry more missiles than the F-35. Engineers experimented with various exterior designs using 3D models and specialized computer programs. The primary goals were to make it extremely fast, highly agile, and exceptionally stealthy. To make it lighter and more flexible, the FX would ditch hydraulic systems and utilize electronic components instead. It would also use strong glue molds instead of regular bolts and screws. 2 XF-9 engines would power the plane, providing it with more than 20 tons of thrust. These engines would have special 3D thrust nozzles to help them turn more quickly and remain hidden. For its weapons and defense, the FX would feature an advanced mix of sensors to track and engage stealthy enemy planes. It would carry an active electronically scanned radar, a passive radio wave sensor, and an infrared camera. All of these would utilize gallium nitride technology to better detect targets that are normally difficult to see. The new jet would also feature a sophisticated radio system that could jam enemy signals worldwide, enabling it to intercept and counter incoming missiles. Pilots would receive a high-tech helmet equipped with a wide field of view, dual-eye displays, colorful screens, voice control, and 3D sound. The FX's stealth features would include twisted air ducts, hidden weapon bays, materials that absorb radar waves, and new metamaterials to make it even harder to detect. A plasma stealth system would generate short plasma bursts to deflect radar waves, thereby further protecting the plane. Beyond conventional armaments, the FX will be armed with a microwave cannon to disrupt incoming missiles. It will also have the ability to deploy combat support unmanned aircraft drones, serving as loyal wingmen to the fighter. These drones will aid in target identification, munition deployment, and the deflection of incoming missiles. If the FX Godzilla lives up to even a fraction of its potential, it could provide the Japanese armed forces with a formidable warplane surpassing anything in today's skies. Furthermore, it has the potential to propel Japan into the global weapons development market, solidifying its position as a military manufacturing powerhouse. Another important job for the FX Godzilla is to replace Japan's current F-2 fighter jets during the 2030s. It's clear that Japan also draws some ideas from the US regarding the FX's design and functionality. Japan even bought some F-35s to use alongside the FX once it is ready. In 2022, rumors started flying that Japan and the UK might join forces by merging Japan's FX project with the UK's Tempest fighter program. By December 2022, the partnership was officially announced, and Italy joined the team as well. Initially, the UK sought to collaborate with France and Germany through a program called the Future Combat Air System. However, after numerous arguments and delays, the UK ultimately decided to collaborate with Japan and Italy instead. This new collaboration is a significant win for both parties. Japan secures strong partners who can help it sell military planes overseas, an area where it lacks substantial experience and expertise. The UK gets serious partners without the problems it faced before. Together, they aim to develop a powerful 6th-generation stealth fighter that could revolutionize the future of air combat. Big companies were given key tasks. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries from Japan and BAE Systems from the UK are leading the project. BAE is also working on the main body of the jet. Japan's IHI Corporation and Rolls-Royce are building the engines. Italy's Leonardo is responsible for the electronics, while MBDA UK handles the missile systems. After Japan and Britain teamed up, they also began working together on radar systems through a project called Jaguar, an acronym for Japan and Great Britain's Universal Advanced Radar Frequency System. The new fighter will be about 30% bigger than the Eurofighter Typhoon. Its weight without fuel will be close to that of the American F-15 Eagle. The plane will have a sharp delta wing with a 50-degree sweep. The wingspan will be around 54 feet, and the total wing area will be about 12,200 square feet, almost the same as the wing size of an Airbus A320. A model of the new fighter was first shown at the Farnborough Air Show in 2024. It features a trimmed delta wing, which enables it to fly faster, travel farther, and carry more weapons and fuel. However, it may not be as adept at quick turns and sharp maneuvers as Japan's original FX design. British aviation journalist Gareth Jennings pointed out that the GCAP's broad wings look a lot like those of the old American F-111 Aardvark bomber. The F-111 used to fly low to stay hidden from radar, but the GCAP will mainly depend on stealth and long-range missiles to remain safe. This plan is similar to the FB-22, a bomber version of the F-22 Raptor that never entered service. Unlike the FB-22, which was built solely for support, the GCAP is designed to engage other planes and strike ground targets. All three countries working on the GCAP already use F-35B stealth fighters, except the UK, which also flies the F-35A. However, they still sought a jet that could carry more weapons than the F-35 and could be sold to other countries without the stringent restrictions associated with the American F-22 Raptor. Japan also plans to fit the GCAP with its high-tech missile systems. These will include the MBDA Meteor, the Spear-3, and the ASM-3, which is a Japanese anti-ship missile. Japan and Britain are also collaborating to develop a new medium-range air-to-air missile, known as the Joint New Air-to-Air Missile. Rumor has it that the JN-8M will feature a radar system manufactured by Japan at the front and a Meteor ramjet engine from Britain at the rear. Still, it may be slower than the Meteor, which can travel at over Mach 4. The JN-8M's top speed is expected to be around Mach 3.5. As for the schedule, the first flight of a Tempest concept demonstrator, a prototype built to test new technology, is planned for 2027. According to the UK Ministry of Defence's Director for Future Combat Air, this test plane will give a strong idea of what the final GEAP fighter will look like. Work on the joint engine demonstrator began in 2024, with the UK investing an initial £30 million in planning, digital design, and innovative construction methods. An additional £200 million from the UK will be allocated toward building a full-size engine for testing. This work will also create many skilled jobs, including at Rolls-Royce's Filton site in Bristol. The first flight of the Tempest is expected to happen in 2035. It will eventually replace the Eurofighter Typhoon in Italy and the UK, as well as the Saab Gripen in Sweden. During its production, they plan to use 3D printing to make parts. Leonardo is also building a new type of radar system for the Tempest. Instead of using a single large radar, this new system will utilize numerous small antennas and mini receivers to collect vast amounts of information from both the sky and the ground. Like other sixth-generation jets, the Tempest is likely to utilize artificial intelligence to control drones, building upon the concept of the loyal wingman. The cockpit will feature augmented reality, making the plane even more advanced. Fast progress and teamwork between countries will be crucial if the Tempest hopes to keep pace with China and Russia, who are also developing powerful new jets. Still, not everyone is pleased about Japan's more ambitious military plans. Kyoji Yanagasawa, a former defense leader, is one of the few who have spoken out. He says that having more potent weapons will not scare away enemies. Instead, he thinks Japan should focus more on talking and making peace to avoid wars. Yanagasawa worries that if Japan builds up its army too much, it could cause more trouble than it solves. He believes that growing the military might deter neighboring countries and make Japan a more attractive target. His view focuses on the difficult choice Japan faces: how to maintain safety without exacerbating tensions with its neighbors. Many experts believe Japan's push to enhance its military capabilities stems from a rapidly changing world. With China growing stronger and North Korea building up its nuclear weapons, Japan feels it might be left exposed. There are also concerns that the United States, Japan's largest ally, may not always be able to fully protect it, especially if problems erupt in different parts of the world simultaneously. The debate over Japan's new defense plans shows the complex situation the country faces as it seeks to strike a balance between peace and security. While many people agree that Japan should be able to defend itself more effectively, others are concerned about potential future developments. If Japan overextends its military, will it truly make the country safer, or will it merely add more tension to East Asia? Yasuo Hasebi, a constitutional law expert at Waseda University, mentioned how hard it is to know if a strike is truly preemptive until after it happens. He also argued that the government could claim that simply possessing these weapons for defense, even if they are never used, still aligns with Japan's peace-focused constitution. Although the law isn't clear on the matter, the government firmly insists that its plan is legal. Hasebi noted that because the government claims it is allowed, questioning it becomes very difficult. Surprisingly, there has been little resistance from Japan's public, media, courts, or opposition parties regarding whether this new military path aligns with the Constitution. The government has also not clearly explained how its actions comply with the law. From the U.S. perspective, Japan's growing military presence can be viewed in two ways. Zach Cooper, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, notes that Japan is bolstering its weapons and defenses, which the U.S. already supplies through its alliance with Japan. He believes part of the reason is Japan's fear that America might not always be a steady partner. That fear partly comes from the time when President Donald Trump questioned the value of old alliances. Japan's plan also shows that it learned from Ukraine's fight against Russia. Experts believe that when a country demonstrates its commitment to self-defense, its allies are more likely to step in and provide assistance. Japan hopes that by demonstrating its ability to stand up for itself, it will receive even more substantial support, especially from the United States. From its inception, the Russian Su-57 stealth fighter caused quite a stir. Its advanced capabilities have raised concerns in other nations, including the United States. As Russia's first fifth-generation stealth aircraft, the Su-57's performance has been compared to the F-22 Raptor, one of the United States' most formidable fighters. But can the Su-57 match or even surpass the capabilities of Western aircraft? In a dogfight, would the Su-57 have the upper hand over the F-22? Or would the American fighter remain dominant? Join us as we explore the insane capabilities of Russia's $273 million stealth jet, which will destroy the West. The Su-57, Russia's advanced fifth-generation stealth fighter, has sparked significant debate since the first day. As the successor to the iconic flanker and a product of over a decade of development, it has drawn mixed reactions. While it represents advanced Russian aviation, some in the West argue it is merely a derivative design. Despite being positioned as the future of the Russian Air Force, only a limited number have been produced, raising questions about its viability. Stealth aircraft became a priority for military powers during the 1980s, with the United States leading the way through the Advanced Tactical Fighter program that ultimately produced the F-22 Raptor. However, misconceptions persist about stealth technology. Contrary to popular belief, stealth does not render an aircraft invisible to radar. Instead, it minimizes detection time, delaying an enemy's ability to achieve a radar lock. This principle underpins the designs of the F-22, an air dominance fighter meant to neutralize threats before adversaries can respond, and the B-2 bomber, built to evade defenses and penetrate deep into enemy territory. With the Su-57, Russia aimed to combine stealth with maneuverability, promising an aircraft capable of countering Western advancements. But is it an underestimated game changer or merely overestimated propaganda? In response to emerging technologies in military aviation, Russia adopted a different approach, prioritizing high performance over stealth. This philosophy led to the launch of their fifth-generation jet program, known as the MFI. The program aimed to develop a competent aircraft with moderate radar cross-section reduction. This effort culminated in the creation of the MiG-1.44, which ultimately failed, showing the broader challenges Russia faced during the 1990s. Despite the MFI program's shortcomings, Sukhoi took the initiative to independently design a next-generation fighter, resulting in the S-37 Berkut. This self-funded project was a technological demonstrator, showcasing advanced capabilities, including its iconic forward-swept wing design. The S-37 symbolized a vision for the future of the Russian Air Force, inspiring further innovation. By the early 2000s, following the MFI's failure, the Russian government launched a new program called the PAK-FA, also known as the Prospective Airborne Complex of Frontline Aviation. Sukhoi and Mikoyan had very different strategies for the PAC-FA competition. Mikoyan suggested a team effort where 3 design bureaus, Mikoyan, Sukhoi, and Yakovlev, would work together, with the winner leading the project. On the other hand, Sukhoi wanted to lead the entire project from the start, including everything from design to production, working closely with suppliers and research teams. Their aircraft designs also showed different priorities. Mikoyan's prototype was smaller and cheaper, weighing 16 to 17 tons and powered by 2 Klimov VK-10EM engines with about 10 to 11 tons of thrust each. Sukhoi's T-50 was bigger and more powerful, weighing 22 to 23 tons and using 2 AL-41F1 engines with 14.5 tons of thrust each. In April 2002, Sukhoi won the competition and became the lead designer for Russia's next-generation fighter. The Ministry of Defense chose Sukhoi for its strong proposal and its proven track record in creating Su-27 variants and successful exports during the 1990s. Flight tests were expected to begin in 2007. However, its production has faced numerous delays, highlighting ongoing challenges in fulfilling this ambitious vision. Russia's 5th-generation fighter jet remained secret for years, sparking intense debates on military forums, blogs, and news outlets. However, the veil was lifted in 2010 when the first images and videos of the Su-57, previously known as the T-50, emerged. The footage showcased the aircraft's maiden flight, captivating the media. Critics quickly dismissed it as an imitation of the F-22 Raptor. But the truth lies somewhere in between. The Su-57 stands out as a unique platform with distinct design choices. While its wing shape may resemble American 5th-generation fighters, the resemblance ends there. Unlike the F-22 or F-35, the Su-57 incorporates design elements from the Flanker series, such as engines housed in gondolas and a tunnel structure between them, enhancing lift and maneuverability. The aircraft's canted vertical stabilizers reduce radar visibility, a crucial feature for stealth, and function as control surfaces, a concept reminiscent of the YF-23. This American prototype was lost to the F-22. Interestingly, the Su-57's nose section resembles the YF-23's naval variant concept, the NF-23, more closely than the Raptor. Additionally, the Su-57 integrates horizontal stabilizers and leading-edge root extensions, which act like canards during flight to maximize maneuverability. These design choices highlight its focus on agility and versatility. From its prototype stages onward, the Su-57 has demonstrated a blend of innovation and inspiration, solidifying its position as a distinctive and formidable aircraft. From its inception, the Su-57 has showcased a design philosophy centered on maneuverability and versatility, setting it apart as a unique player in 5th-generation fighter jets. Unlike the advanced stealth coatings of the F-35 and F-22, the Su-57 uses radar-absorbent materials sparingly, focusing on critical areas like hatches or sections prone to radar wave scattering. This limited application reduces the jet's radar cross-section by 20% to 90%, far from the exaggerated claims of massive reductions. While the Su-57 cannot match the stealth of its American counterparts, it's stealthy enough for Russian standards. Modern radars would still struggle to track a target with an RCS below 1 square meter. However, the Su-57's stealth effectiveness is hindered by its exposed engines in the rear, which likely results in a higher RCS compared to the F-35 and F-22. While some media criticize details like exposed screws, these aren't a significant factor, as even the F-35 and F-22 have similar features and maintain exceptional stealth capabilities. The real challenge for the Su-57 lies with its engines. Russia repeated a familiar Cold War mistake by starting the development of the aircraft before designing its intended engines. While other successful jets like the Rafale and Su-27 also began testing with interim engines, they quickly transitioned to their proper power plants. The Su-57, in contrast, still relies on engines not explicitly optimized for its design, limiting its full potential. The story of the Su-57's engine development is long and still unfinished. Currently, the Su-57 jets in production are powered by AL-41F1 engines, which are closely related to those used in the Su-35. While these engines are reliable and robust, They are not the original design and vision for the Su-57. Instead of being based on the AL-41FS developed for the older MFI program, they are adaptations of the older AL-31 engines. This means that unlike some fifth-generation fighters, the Su-57 may not achieve sustained supercruise, flying at supersonic speeds without afterburners when carrying a full combat load. For comparison, even the Su-35 can only achieve supercruise in a lighter configuration. On the bright side, the AL-41F1 engines feature 3D thrust vectoring, giving the Su-57 exceptional agility and maneuverability. The Su-57 is a formidable dogfighter with a thrust-to-weight ratio of over 1, even in combat configurations. However, modern air combat has shifted away from traditional dogfights, making this capability less critical in most scenarios. The future engine for the Su-57, called the Li-30, is expected to bring substantial improvements. It's designed to enable supercruise at speeds up to Mach 1.5, incorporate serrated nozzles like the F-35's F-135 engine, and potentially introduce a flatter, stealthier nozzle design inspired by the S-70 Okhotnik drone. These upgrades aim to improve stealth and reduce the visible titanium areas affecting the Su-57's radar signature. However, it's unclear when these new engines will enter service. One of the Su-57's most promising developments is its collaboration with advanced drones like the S-70 Okhotnik. This wingman drone is far more focused on stealth, with a sleek design and large payload capacity. Working alongside the Su-57, these drones could change the dynamics of air combat. For instance, the Su-57 or an AWACS aircraft could identify enemy targets, while the S-70 drones engage them undetected. This teamwork could make the Su-57 and its drones a powerful offensive or defensive force. Russia is developing a new data link system called OZOD, similar to NATO's Link 16, to support this integration. This system would enable seamless communication between manned aircraft and drones, enhancing operational efficiency. The S-70 has undergone several successful test flights and continues to advance through its development phase, promising a significant leap in Russia's air combat capabilities. The Su-57, Russia's advanced fifth-generation fighter jet, is more than just a concept. It's a tangible project with prototypes in limited operational use. However, the ongoing war in Ukraine and the strain on Russia's military resources raise a critical question. Where will the funding come from to support such ambitious and costly projects? Initially, India partnered with Russia in 2007 to co-finance the Su-57's development under the PAC-FA program. In exchange, India would receive a two-seater variant and the rights to produce the aircraft domestically. However, the program faced significant setbacks, including delays caused by engine development challenges and the integration of entirely new avionics, radar systems, and sensors. Frustrated by these delays, India withdrew from the project in 2018. It retained the option to purchase the finished aircraft later, if it ever reached mass production and full operational capability within the Russian Air Force. Russia initially planned to produce 200 Su-57s, but drastically scaled back the goal to a single squadron of 12 aircraft. This number was later adjusted when, in 2017, a contract for 76 units was signed. Despite this, progress has been slow. To date, only around 10 Su-57s are reportedly in operational service. The Su-57 has allegedly been used for testing in Syria and even deployed in the war in Ukraine. Reports suggest it may have engaged in air-to-air combat, with claims of a possible kill against a Ukrainian Su-27. However, these claims remain unverified and fall into the realm of speculation. Funding, production delays, and operational challenges continue to overshadow the Su-57's development, raising doubts about the project's future viability amidst Russia's current economic and military constraints. This conflict has been as much about propaganda as it has been about military advancements, creating the impression that the Su-57 is a game-changing aircraft in combat is a powerful tool for Russia to appeal to potential buyers worldwide. However, it's crucial to approach such claims with caution and a critical mindset. Now, addressing the big question, how would the Su-57 fare against America's finest? The F-22 Raptor or the F-35 Lightning II? Let's delve into its capabilities, focusing on its electronics and weaponry. The Su-57 is equipped with the advanced NO-36 Belka AESA radar system, which consists of 5 distinct antennas. The primary X-band antenna provides long-range detection and target engagement capabilities. 2 additional X-band antennas on the sides enhance coverage, extending to approximately 270 degrees. Furthermore, 2 L-band antennas integrated into the wings support electronic warfare functions, broadening its defensive capabilities. At the front of the aircraft, there's the infrared search and track system. This system can detect thermal signatures from enemy aircraft and guide infrared missiles without needing the radar. It is similar to the electro-optical targeting system on the F-35. Notably, this is an advantage over the F-22 Raptor, which lacks a comparable IRS system, though future upgrades might address this gap. The Su-57 also incorporates sensor fusion, where its onboard computer integrates data from multiple sensors to improve the pilot's situational awareness. While this is a step forward, it doesn't match the advanced capabilities of the F-35 distributed aperture system and the helmet-mounted display, which offer unparalleled situational awareness and targeting accuracy. One notable drawback of the Su-57 is the absence of an integrated targeting pod, unlike the F-35. The F-35 can engage ground targets using its internal systems while maintaining its stealth profile, a significant advantage in modern combat scenarios. So to conclude the comparison, the Su-57 is a formidable aircraft with features that outpace 4th generation and even advanced 4th-plus generation fighters. However, in a head-to-head comparison with the F-22 or F-35, it falls short in several key areas, particularly stealth and electronic warfare systems. While impressive in its own right, it remains a step behind its Western counterparts. The Su-57 is undoubtedly a remarkable fighter, but what lies ahead for this program? While the Su-57 isn't flawless, it does showcase strong capabilities. It features advanced radar and avionics, respectable stealth attributes, and powerful engines, though these engines have yet to meet the originally planned specifications. The anticipated Su-57M upgrade is expected to include these improvements, along with advanced systems. However, futuristic elements like autonomous drones remain largely conceptual for now. In combat scenarios, the Su-57 poses a significant challenge. Equipped with R-37M long-range missiles capable of striking targets over 200 kilometers away, it could potentially engage adversaries like the F-22 and F-35 before being detected. Russia envisions the Su-57 as a command aircraft, leading jet teams to enhance battlefield surveillance and support. However, the program faces substantial hurdles. Current production numbers are low, with only 10 to 15 operational Su-57s and an order for 76 more. Even with these, the fleet falls short of matching the U.S. F-22 inventory and the extensive fleet of over 1,000 F-35s deployed by the U.S. and NATO forces. Interestingly, while debates often pit the Su-57 against Western fighters, the Chinese J-20 may represent a more immediate concern for the U.S. With its serial production and growing numbers, the J-20 could more effectively challenge the balance of power than the Su-57. The J-20 stealth fighter is designed to dominate the skies with cutting-edge technology. Its advanced sensors and data systems give the pilot a complete view of the battlefield while using stealth and electronic warfare to keep enemies in the dark. The aircraft has a suite of sensors that provide a 360-degree view, and its nose-mounted systems are tailored for detecting and engaging air threats. Though exact details about its radar remain secret, experts believe the J-20 uses a high-performance AESA radar capable of tracking targets up to 200 kilometers away and engaging multiple enemies simultaneously. It also includes electro-optical targeting systems and infrared sensors, similar to those on the F-35, making it especially effective against stealthy opponents. Pilots enjoy a fully digital setup inside the cockpit with a massive touchscreen display, additional auxiliary screens, and a wide-angle holographic HUD for critical data. The helmet-mounted display lets pilots aim and fire weapons by looking at the target, even at extreme angles. Recent reports suggest the J-20 is also capable of airborne early warning and control, further boosting its versatility. With all these features, the J-20 blends stealth, precision, and cutting-edge avionics into one formidable package. The J-20 fighter jet is designed to carry advanced weapons for various missions. Its primary weapons bay can hold long-range air-to-air missiles like the PL-15 and PL-21, as well as precision-guided bombs such as the LS-6 series. Two smaller side bays near the air intakes are made for short-range missiles like the PL-10. These side bays are built for stealth, letting the doors close quickly before firing, making launches faster and harder to detect. The central bay can fit up to 4 long-range missiles, while the side bays each hold 1 short-range missile. By 2023, reports suggested China was working to boost the J-20's missile capacity. A new staggered setup could allow 6 PL-15 missiles to fit internally, and a slimmer missile called the PL-16, designed with folded fins and a compact frame, is also in development. Despite its smaller size, the PL-16 matches the PL-15 in performance. The J-20's primary mission is air combat, using missiles to take down enemy aircraft and critical aerial targets. It might also handle precision strikes with air-to-ground weapons or anti-radiation missiles. While its wings can carry extra fuel tanks or larger weapons like the PL-17, this would reduce its stealth, so it's not the jet's primary role. Interestingly, the J-20 doesn't have an internal cannon, hinting at its focus on long-range battles rather than close dogfights. Its design prioritizes precision and power when hitting targets from afar. The J-20 stealth fighter is designed with a brilliant mix of features to reduce its radar visibility. Its shape uses canard wings paired with smooth extensions near the leading edges to scatter radar waves effectively. The sleek forebody, radar-friendly canopy, and specialized materials help it achieve stealth like the F-22. Its air inlets, called DSI, are cleverly designed to hide the engine from radar, while also being lightweight and simple. The J-20's weapons bay has flat bottoms, doors have jagged edges, and cooling vents have mesh covers to improve stealth further. While some argue that using canards could hurt its stealth, experts point out that canards can work with low observable designs, as seen in other stealth aircraft. Advanced flight controls and careful engineering make them viable for stealth. The aircraft also uses composite materials and radar-absorbing paint. During peacetime, a special reflector makes it visible to other planes, enhancing safety and reducing training risks. This reflector can be removed in combat. Over time, the J-20 has evolved to include better engines and stealth-enhancing features, especially in its newer models. While its rear stealth isn't as advanced as the F-35, its front-facing stealth is impressive and better than the Su-57. Analysts believe the J-20 can use its stealth to strike targets in cluttered airspaces, showing it's a serious player in modern air combat. In a nutshell, the J-20 is formidable. The future of the Su-57 is uncertain, especially given the pressures on Russia's defense industry due to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Nonetheless, its design and the F-22 will likely influence the development of next-generation fighter aircraft for years to come. Despite criticisms, the Su-57 remains an impressive platform, hinting at the potential change of the future of aerial warfare. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.